So I don't know if you have ever dealt with imposter syndrome. The feeling that you're at a point in your life or in your career, but someone's going to find out that you don't belong there. It's something that's actually really common and something that my colleague Gail Green and I work with in our discovery workshop, our Leadership for Women. So Gail, do you want to go ahead and talk about what this is?
I sure do. The imposter syndrome is probably one of the biggest areas of concern we find when we're working with women leaders. And if you were to Google it, you would find books, articles. It is so prevalent. Prevalent with women, prevalent with people in general, but prevalent with women leaders. Afraid you're going to be caught as a fraud. And this often kicks in when people get promoted quickly or find themselves in a position of leadership and authority that might be different than those around them because of education or experience.
So Gail, I just did some research and I found something that I think our audience would find really interesting and I think really puts into perspective how broad scope this is. And that is, there was a 2020 study done which found that 75% of executive women across all industries had experienced imposter syndrome at some point in their life. And I thought that was pretty mind-boggling. But in addition to that, it's really important for us to know that even people who are highly accomplished, who we consider to be the greatest, the GOATs, that they can suffer from this as well. And I found this example from Maya Angelou, who, as many of us know, Pulitzer Prize winning author and poet. And she wrote in one of her books, I have written 11 books, but each time I think, uh-oh, they're going to find out now. I have run a game on everyone, and they're going to find me out. So she suffered from imposter syndrome as well. So Gail, I know you have an example. Would you like to talk about that too?
Yeah, well, that's just mind-boggling, but shows how prevalent it is. I was working with a client. She was a senior director in a Fortune 500 bank, and she was up for promotion to VP. She had entered the organization as an entry-level manager and worked her way all the way to that level. However, she was a people manager. She had loyalty of her team. Her net was widespread to the associates she had throughout the organization that appreciated her, valued, and worked with her. The challenge was how she saw herself at this point in becoming a VP. And her inner voice was saying, they're going to find out that I'm people oriented and they keep telling me I don't have what it takes.
So Gail, I know that our coaching can go deep with some people. How did you dig with her so that she could overcome this?
When we work with female executives in our Discovery Bootcamp series, what we often get is the opportunity to really go below the surface with people. And in this particular situation, we discovered that she had remnants from when she was a teenager and her parents divorced and went through a very, very ugly time where she was left to kind of be mom to her younger brother and sister. She felt she didn't do a good job. She felt like I have to become a mom and she wasn't. And that residue, that really strong feeling of not being worth it, really was still there. And by us being able to go in and really dig at those deeper levels, she was able to really get current. She hadn't been current. She was still using that as a reference point. She was able to get current and to be able to acknowledge all the pathways she had taken, all the challenges she'd overcome, hearing over and over, you're too people focused. You don't have the business strategy. You too much rely on your teams. You don't have the right direction. And as a result of her being able to turn that around, she aced the interview, because she was up against 2 other candidates, and she actually became a VP.
It sounds like she really had some strong relationship power
Absolutely.
that I'm so glad she could, as you said, become current and be able to see that. And I think there's an important element here too, Gail. In our series here, we've been talking about some issues that women struggle with in the workplace, executive women. And we, in our workshop, really stress the tools and give people tools that they can work with. But in some cases, something like imposter syndrome might take a little bit more digging. And I think that's where the coaching element can really come into play.
Yeah, I think when I see what we've done with the one-on-one, creating a transformational arena where people can really self-reflect, and with our guidance, go to some of those places that really are outdated so that they can get present, current, and powerful in who they have become, and acknowledge those high levels of achievements as well. So for those of you watching, have you ever suffered from the imposter syndrome? And if so, would love to hear what you have to say about it. Love to continue this conversation. Please comment. We will respond, and we look forward to continue in our series and offering you more and getting more of your feedback. Thank you, and see you next time.